Back in early November, I shared with you a case study of a website that I bought last year. Today, I'm going to be sharing with you the progress that's been made over the last 3 months, showing you exactly what I've done, how the site has performed, and most importantly, how much money that website has made. And be sure to stick around until the end of the video because I'll be sharing with you my total portfolio earnings and costs over the last 12 months. So I'd like to start off by just giving you a little bit of context to this website. This was a site that I bought last year from Flippa in a transaction that totaled just over $1,600. At the time that I bought the site, it was making just under $25 per month, which is why I was able to pick it up at the price that I was. And even then, I probably overpaid a little bit for that domain. This was a bit of a side project for me and really a little bit of fun too, because what I wanted to do was to see how much value I could add to this website and try and flip it, which is still my intention and something that I'm probably going to look to do at some point this year. So let's dig into the stats. Hey there, affiliate schoolers. Now, of course, we're talking about Coffee Grind Guru. Still not sure about that name, but there's not really much I can do about it now. But the first time I showed you this site, it had just started to move on an upward trajectory in terms of commissions. So let's take a look at what it's done since then. So if we look at traffic first, we can see that back in November, it was getting around 125 to 150 hits per day, and gradually over time into December it was looking at around the 180 to 200 hits per day, and then at times in January it's reached the lofty heights of around 290 hits per day. So let's take a look at the traffic for November. So organic traffic in November was just shy of 4,000 hits. December's traffic was 5,292, which was quite a nice increase. And January's traffic was a further increase up to 5,801. And if we compare the January traffic to the October traffic, it's actually a 65.36% increase, so not too bad at all. Now, I actually expected January's traffic to plummet, to be perfectly honest with you, because certainly coffee machines, I was expecting to be quite a big hit pre-Christmas, as it's kind of, it's a nice gift to buy for people, and then for it to absolutely nosedive. But that hasn't been the case, and if anything, well, we can see there that January has been far better than December and November, and certainly October and the months before. So if we take a look at some of the rankings that I'm tracking, we can see here that over the last month alone, we've seen some really good movement in the rankings, and there's a few keywords that I'd like to point out here. Now, this is one of the big ones really that made the difference in the last case study was this Spin Coffee Maker review, because this is a non-Amazon product and the commission rates typically are $40 or $50 per sale. Now, there's been a bit of an issue with this, which I'll come on to later, but still really nice to see that we're ranking position 1 for that now with a 720 a month search volume. And even just for Spin Coffee Maker, which gets 8,000 searches per month, we're position 2. And that's obviously second place just to Spin Coffee themselves. But then there are some other keywords that have performed really well. Now, this Ninja CM401, this has generated a few sales. It's now in position 2 from position 8 a month ago. Again, search volume of 170. And this was one of the new pages that I've put on in the last few months. We've also got the Keurig K Mini review, which has moved up. I think that was around position 8 or 9 before, but this one is another one that's really nice, this Best Dark Roast Coffee. That gets decent search volume each month, and it's moved from 11 to 6 in the last month alone. And when the last case study video was put together, this was ranking nowhere. So this has kind of just come right through. And if we take a look at this page, we can see there's nothing particularly special about it, in terms of the way it's put together. But what I have done, and this is in the last couple of weeks, is to put this Volcanica Dark Roast Coffee in position 1, and this has now started to generate sales on a 15% commission, as opposed to Amazon, who with grocery products, which coffee comes under, only give you 1%. So this is making a big difference in terms of the earnings, or at least it will do going forwards. Now, just a word on Volcanica Coffee. Whilst it was really nice to have a product with a high commission rate, it was actually really nice to work with a really good quality company too. They reached out to me, they actually sent me some of their coffee, which makes the review process so much easier, so much more authentic, and it's really, really good coffee too. I mean, I don't actually like coffee, but my wife is a coffee connoisseur and she tells me that it's really good, so I believe her. Now, if we look at the stats in Ahrefs, we can see that this has progressed massively. If we look at the organic search over the last, well, this is over all time, we can see that prior to me buying the site, I bought the site around here, pretty much at its low of about 1,000 hits per month. This is again according to Ahrefs. Its previous high with the previous owner was around 2,673 hits per month. And we can see that in the last 6 months, the organic traffic has grown and grown and grown, which we know that correlates pretty accurately to what we've seen in Google Analytics. So that's really nice to see. And we can see that we've got a lot more organic keywords. So although I'm tracking, you know, a handful of keywords, there are lots of other keywords, of course, that we also rank really well for, which is great to see. And it's a good mix of info and review and buyer guide type content. So that's all great to see, but what did the website actually make in the last few months? Well, I did say that there'd been a bit of an issue with Spin Coffee, and this was unfortunate because they're actually in the process of changing their affiliate program. So for the last few months, it's actually had no sales. I have actually had some direct communication with the CEO. He did actually want to get on a Zoom call with me to discuss how they could improve their affiliate program. Not quite managed to arrange that yet because of time zone issues, but still really nice to know that they're trying to work with their affiliates, and I think in the long term that will be a good partnership to have. However, it has impacted on the earnings in the short term, but Amazon earnings are way up. So let's take a look at those. So if we go back to July, we can see that the commissions were, you know, there was nothing really. It was less than when I bought the site. Remember, it was making about $23, $24 a month prior to me buying it. And in July, it was making, well, it made $12.66. In August, we saw an improvement up to $71.61. And then September really was the time when it started to really take off, at least in terms of the Amazon earnings. And that brought in $221.81. And then in October, that dipped again back down to $125.87. So that's pretty much where we were at when I showed you the last case study video. So let's take a look at November's earnings, and they were back up to $217.67. Now this is the point where the Spin coffee sales dried up, so we were a lot more reliant on Amazon, and we can see that in December it made $350.60. Not too bad at all. Conversion rate was pretty good at 7.59%. And then that brings us to January, when I was expecting things to take a significant drop, but it actually increased. So we actually saw commissions of $437.45. And it's not really shown many signs of dropping. And you can see, if we look at the types of products that were bought, it's all coffee related stuff. It's all the type of stuff that's been promoted on the site. We can see what our best selling items are. We can see this Cuisinart DBM8 that we've suddenly started to rank for, and so on. So the next question probably is, what have I actually done with the site in that time? And the honest answer is not a lot, to be honest. So this is exactly what I've done. So in November, I built out 2 pieces of content. One was an info piece and one was a review piece. And I built out 3 backlinks to the site. In December, I built 0 backlinks, and there was 1 buyer's guide and 1 review piece of content that went live on the site. And then in January, I've built 4 links, but they probably haven't really had any impact on the site yet. and there was one info piece and the one review of the Volcanica coffee that I wrote myself. So let's take a look at how that translates into costs and how much money the site has actually made in terms of profit, because earnings are great, but if your costs are more, then what's the point? So really, I've only started using this spreadsheet since November, so the data prior to that I've not really bothered to put in yet, and I probably won't, to be perfectly honest with you, because this is the point now where it's starting to make decent money. So this is where I want to track it from in terms of a potential sale. So November, we did actually get spin commissions of $180, but that's when they stopped. So the total for November was $397. December was $344.91, and January was $435.89. which gives a total income for those 3 months of $1,177.80. Now, in that time, I did have costs. Obviously, we have the hosting costs. I had some costs that were associated with the link building, and I had some content costs too. So in November, the site actually made a loss of $38. December was a profit of $184.91, and January was a profit of $135.89. So in those 3 months, it made a total profit of $282.80. However, if we look at the commissions for the last few months of Spin, when it was generating, generally it's making around $150 on average per month. So if we were making that $150, then obviously that would be extra income, and that's an income that I do expect to come back to the site at some point this year. Now, don't forget, we've still got the reveal for my total portfolio income to come at the end of this video. But in the meantime, if you are enjoying this video, I would really appreciate it if you could bop the like button to let me know that you like this sort of content, and to help share it to other people. And what I'd quite like you to do is to drop a comment down below with your guess as to what you think Coffee Grind Guru is worth now. If I was to sell it now, how much do you think I could realistically get for it? Drop your valuations in the comments down below. So before we wrap up, I did promise to give you that overall portfolio earnings for the last 12 months, so let's take a look at those. So what I tend to do for my main 2 websites is to have all of the affiliate programs listed. Now, I am going to blur some of these out because some of them will give away the niche that this site is in, and I don't really want to do that. And then I have my expenses listed down here. Same format as the spreadsheet that you saw before. So you can see this was since March. You can see the earnings for these sites, and then this is the total figure. Now that's actually for 11 months rather than 12. And if we go into the month before, so February 2021 was 9,638. So it's pretty close to £100,000. And obviously this is in pounds, by the way, this is not in dollars. These are UK sites. Now the total costs for the year were 33,593, and really we should be adding another 1,766 to that. So around £36,000, and total profit on the year to date is 55,878, and then adding in another 7,800, so around £62,000 in profit. I do then also have this site that has just started to make some income. Again, this one is in US dollars, so this one is performing quite nice. So we can see that the total earnings for the portfolio in that period are around £62,000. And that's after all the costs. It's important to point out here though that I've got a number of sites that I'm really investing in and trying to grow, and that's why my costs are so high. I'm spending a lot of money on content. I'm also spending some money on some marketing specialists as we're trying to build email lists and utilize some different marketing strategies to grow some of those sites even further beyond what I could probably do in terms of organic SEO. And then I've also got the costs associated with the link building. So really I've only got about 3 or 4 sites that are making good money, and then I've got 4 sites, 4 I think, that are very much in the early days. And I'd count Coffee Grind Guru as one of those, by the way. So there's plenty of scope. I think in terms of, I said I wanted to share my goals. My goal for this year is to be at 20,000 revenue per month at least by this time next year. And I think that's pretty achievable because I've got a lot of sites that I started or acquired last year and early last year that are really just starting to pick up some nice traction. So I think I'm fairly optimistic that I can get there, but 20 is that kind of the bottom goal. And really I kind of want to build that up to more like 30k a month. And I think that's very achievable. And really what I need to do in order to get there is to follow my own advice in this video, because this is going to tell me exactly what not to do to kill my affiliate website. So you might want to watch this next. Thanks for watching, guys, and good luck with your sites.